I mean, look, I will watch Madam Web 3 times before I watch this again. Welcome back to the Middle of Culture. I am one of your co-hosts, Peter.
And I am your other co-host, Eden.
Eden, it's been a little bit.
It's been a hot minute. We both had travel. It's the dog days of summer. What's the etymology of that phrase, I wonder?
I don't know. It's a good question. I hear the clickety clack and something tells me you're going to find that answer for us right now.
Yeah, I am. I gotta know. Oh, it's the period following the heliacal rising of the star system Sirius, known colloquially as the dog star, of course.
There we go.
Of course that's what it is. It's thanks to the moon. It's thanks to the star Sirius, the brightest proper star in the night sky.
Okay.
Well, so there you go.
There we go. Well, what you been up to?
Surviving, very busy with prepping for the start of the semester, and also, just living life. As you can see, if you're watching any of the video clips, the Intrusive Thoughts won, and I dyed my beard purple the other day.
You did. And it looks fantastic.
It was that or shave it, and then and Cassie was like, "Go look at photos from the last time you shaved it." And I went and I looked at photos from the last time I shaved my face bald in 2020. And I said, no, I won't.
I'm not doing that again.
Do it again. And so I dyed my hair purple instead. I used one of those, it's a semi-permanent dye. It's just a conditioner. You just rub it in and then wait half an hour and then rinse it out. It was fun. I will absolutely keep doing it. I've done it 2 or 3 times already. I'll keep doing it until I get bored of purple, and then I'll probably change colors because it comes in a boatload of different colors.
There you go.
How about you? What you been up to?
Travel as well. Some travel, some busyness. For me, it's not so much getting ready for school because, it doesn't matter to me. But Gareth's getting ready for school. High school swim season has started, so we've had actually almost 2 weeks now of practices for that. Liz is getting ready for school. I don't know if I had a chance to mention it on the pod, but she is now voice faculty at Idaho State University.
Well, congrats to her. That's exciting.
They reached out during the summer and asked her if she would like to be on the voice faculty, and so she'll be teaching voice lessons to music majors, music minors, people who need to be taking voice as part of their program and sitting in juries and doing stuff like that. And I expect probably at some point she'll have a choir that she's in charge of. Right now they're kind of shuffling some of that stuff around, but we're excited. So she's getting ready for that to start teaching there. And, one of the things that we did, I'll talk about in what we've been checking out and up to situation. So
sounds good.
But speaking of, what have you been checking out, Eden?
Keeping myself busy. I'll save, I think, have you seen Brand New Day yet?
Yes.
We'll save that that can be the handoff between what I've been checking out and what you've been checking out. We can collab on that at the end. So I'll save it. Some other things worth mentioning. More new Rebecca Black songs have been dropping every week or two because she's got a new album coming out in 2 weeks, baby.
Okay.
I'm so excited. The newest song was like a bacchanal of queer hedonism, and it was super, super cool. The music video was buck wild. Can't think of the name of the song because, of course, I forgot to write it down. But here we are. It was good. I'm excited for more. I think she's one of the most interesting people working in pop music right now, and I'm glad she does it. Cool. Let's see, other things to mention. Things I've been reading. Obviously, I read a lot of stuff while I was gone. I mentioned some of it when we recorded last, that I finished the big long book and was reading some other stuff. I went back and I read the first couple volumes and finished up to the currently released volumes of Rollover and Die, which is still really fun. Extremely gory, extremely action-packed. really has a way with making gross fantasy monsters in the series Roll Over and Die. Also, I just wish it didn't have the subtitle. They got to shorten these titles. Roll Over and Die, good title. Roll Over and Die, I will fight for an everyday life with my love and my cursed sword, or some bullshit like that. It's too... Come on, guys.
That's a bit much.
You got Roll Over and Die. That's a cool name. You don't need to put the fight for a quotidian life or whatever the hell. Anyway, it's a pretty good book, though. I've read a lot of comics. I don't need to talk about all of them, but one I wanted to mention that I've read is a comic called The Credits Roll into the Sea, which I read the first volume of, because that's all that's out officially in English so far. But I was really impressed with it. The premise of the comic is there is a retiree whose husband has passed away, so she's a widow, and she used to love watching movies with him and going to the movies, and like had a collection of movies at home that they would watch together, had like a large VHS collection. But she's, obviously sad after he's passed away. And she finally decides, I'm going to just go see it. Or she tries to watch one of her favorite movies and her VCR is broken. So she says, well, I'm going to go to the movies. She goes to the movies, and as she is in the movie, like going into the movie, she runs into this university age person. And they talk a little bit about movies, and then they go and watch the movie. They're both going to the same showing. And while they're in there, he realizes that she is getting as much enjoyment about watching the reactions of the audience as she is to watching the film itself. And so he talks to her about that afterwards. She eventually says, hey, do you know how to fix a VCR? Because my VCR is broken. And he's like, I don't really know if I do, but I can try. So he goes to her place. She makes him dinner. They keep talking. He is able to fix her VCR. And he says to her, hey, I noticed I am a student filmmaker. So I watch the reaction of people when they're watching films, and that's what I'm most interested in. And I think that you are too. And I think that you want to tell stories through film and not just watch stories through film. And gives her like the flyer to his like student show or whatever at the university. And so she goes to the university and decides to enroll in the film program there as like a 70-year-old woman. And that's the rest of the volume so far. That's what it's been about, is this, retiree going back to school, learning how to make films among these 18 to 22 year olds, and like working on student films in groups with all these other people. And it had like a quietness and a tenderness to it that was really phenomenal. And the way that it portrayed when she would have those like moments of like artistic reverie, as like the tide coming in and washing over her feet, was really just like the sort of thing that you could really only do in a medium like comics, or even maybe animation. But it was really, really good. I was very impressed by it. I'm really excited to read more of it as it comes out.
Cool.
I'll mention a few video games. When I was out visiting family, my brothers-in-law talked about how about once a month they'll get together in a Discord call and play a game together. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. They were like, would you like to come? And I was like, oh, will you like to invite me? I guess I'll come. So I started playing the game that they get together and play together. And we've had a chance to play all once together, the three of us. So I've been playing Heroes of Hammerwatch, which is a dungeon crawling roguelike.
Yep.
And it's fun. It's funner with other people. But it's pretty good. And then I've also been playing the sequel, Heroes of Hammerwatch 2, because it was like $2 more to buy both games than it was to just buy Heroes of Hammerwatch, because the second one was on a deep sale, which then made the bundle on a good sale. So I bought them both, and I was like, okay, I'll buy them both. 2 is much better. 2 is a much better game. The gameplay loop's more satisfying. It's not quite as quick. The runs seem to last longer in Heroes of Hammerwatch 2. but I think it's more fun. So I think I'm pushing for our next game night to be all of us play that together. Have them come to my world because I'll have the most unlocked stuff. Because when we all played on the first one, we went to my brother-in-law Brendan's world because he has unlocked all of the town stuff, and I don't have all the town stuff unlocked in 2 yet, but I'm getting pretty close.
Cool.
And then the other game I would mention, because it finally came out in 1.0 not too long ago, is Fields of Mystria, which is it's a Stardew Valley alike,
Sure.
but it's really cute. It's very fun. It's in kind of more of a fantastical world than Stardew Valley is, at least more explicitly fantastical. But what I'm really enjoying about it is I think the characters are really well done. Like, I think the designs are fun. I think the writing is fairly good, for as thin as the character writing is ever going to be in a farming game, because you're not getting deep party mechanics and things like that unless you're playing Harvestella. But that's because that was an RPG that they just tacked a farming sim on the top of. So you got RPG stuff. So yeah, you had a big party and you got really involved in their lives. It's not that kind of a game. It's very much more like a Stardew Valley, but it's really good. I'm quite impressed with it. It's one of the better ones of those that I've played.
Nice.
And then the last thing I'll mention before we go into talking brand new day stuff, for the most recent convocation of the Bad Movie Bros, because it has been like 2 or 3 months since we got together on a Sunday night to watch a movie. This last Sunday, we got together to watch Gore. Are you familiar with Gore, Peter?
I am not.
G-O-R, Gore. It's a fantasy world. It's a sword and sandals fantasy world. Very Conan-esque, so it felt appropriate based on our topic for today. But it's written by this guy who's like a weird sex guy, in that he has very particular BDSM tastes and likes to role play women as sex slaves. And wrote a whole book, in fact, called Imaginative Sex, about sex role plays between a husband and wife, almost all of which are a woman in a subservient role to a man, because that's what he did. And that's kind of his name's John Norman. And that's kind of the whole thing about the world of Gore. There's like 38 novels. A new one came out 4 or 5 years ago. But also, he was like a professor during this whole time. This is a pen name that he wrote under, and he was like a normal ass professor guy, and has been married to the same woman since 1956.
Okay.
So has he been doing weird sex BDSM with the same woman since 1950? I don't want to know, but the important part is it was a not good movie in the good ways. It was so good, it was bad, or so bad, it was good. Unlike other sword and sandal movies, which we might be talking about later in this exact episode. I had a very fun time with Gore. Apparently, there's also a sequel called Outlaws of Gore, which we've already got queued up for the next time we get together on a Sunday night call together. It was very bad. I had a blast. So if you want to watch a good, bad sword and sandals movie, Gore is on Amazon Prime. Go watch it.
There you go.
So let's talk Spider-Man. What'd you think about Spider-Man, Peter?
Spider-Man. Here's the thing. I really, really like these Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. And you know what? I thought Brand New Day was another one of those.
See, I don't really like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies very well. And I thought this one was pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I really dig them. I think this is probably one of my favorite of the 4.
Oh, I think it's easily the best of the 4 for me.
I think it may be the best. I think because of the nostalgia and some of the moments for me, No Way Home probably still is my favorite, but I do think this is a much better movie than No Way Home.
And see, for me, the nostalgia of No Way Home just pissed me off.
Sure.
So I really didn't like No Way Home very much. And it didn't help that it was so clearly a COVID production, that everything is so clearly done on a green screen. Like the entire film, they didn't build like one set for that movie. And I think that hurt the way that it looked. But also I like the cast, but I just felt like they weren't given very good things to work with in those first three. I think Homecoming's probably the strongest of the three, mostly on the strength of Michael Keaton's performance as the Vulture. That scene where they're in the car together is one of the best like scenes in a superhero movie in terms of like building tension and it's really good. And then Far From Home really sucked. Because it was more just like, oh, Iron Man's dead. We're all so sad. And also Mysterio, cool design, bad execution. And then I didn't care for No Way Home. I thought Brand New Day was pretty good, though. I think that Destin Daniel Creston, whatever the hell his name is, the director, he's better. He makes better movies, I think. It looked a lot better. The action was a lot tighter, a lot more carefully constructed.
Which honestly didn't surprise me because I still think that Shang-Chi is one of the best post-Endgame Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he was the Shang-Chi guy. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Shang-Chi had some great... That was a good-looking movie. It was fun.
Yeah.
I thought this one was really, really a lot of fun. It made me like John Bernthal's Punisher more than any of the stuff I've seen of him in Daredevil or his show. Because I was like, man, I hate the Punisher. But I liked this version of the Punisher. I thought he was very good bouncing off of Peter Parker.
So I want to briefly talk about something. We went to go see this. We were down in Vegas, all of us, the whole family, all 8 of us. We went to go see it there. And because we wanted to be in good seats, kind of close to the middle, we had to sort of split the 8 of us up, 4 on one row, 4 on the other row. And so I was there, and it was me and Liz, and then Alex and Lily. And it was really interesting to me when it was over the kind of negative way that especially Alex was talking about it. But one of the things I thought was interesting, and you're welcome to tell me I'm full of shit, but they were talking about, they were complaining about the Punisher, and they were like, oh, he wasn't dark enough. He was too funny. He was too whatever. And my counter to that was on purpose. That wasn't an accidental thing that they did. This wasn't them sort of trying to sanitize the character. I felt what they were showing is this relationship between Punisher and Spider-Man, between Peter and why am I blanking on his name? Frank, between this relationship between Peter and Frank that has developed off screen, which I appreciate. They trusted us to be able to pick up on this. This is them showing us Frank for the first time since his family was killed has another human being that he gives a damn about.
Yeah. I think that's 100% the case. Because like I appreciated that they understood that a person is going to act different in different circumstances. When sad boy Frank Castle is around sad boy Matt Murdock, guess what? The sad boy feelings increase.
The ennui just stews itself.
Yeah, because you got 2 sad boys, one who's Catholic and one who lost his family. And so they're both sad for different reasons, but they're both just bummers. That ain't Spider-Man. Spider-Man ain't a bummer like that, even when he is a bummer, because this is the most bummer Spider-Man's been. But he still fundamentally is the guy who, before he gets in a fight, is like, let me stretch. I ain't a kid anymore.
Yep.
Do you stretch? It's so good for you. Like, he's still that guy. And so I appreciated that they understand that Frank is going to act different around him than he does around Daredevil. I can see how people would be like, oh, it's a mischaracterization. I didn't feel that way about it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And I got to say, Sadie Sink killed it. I thought she was good.
She was great.
I thought she was so good.
100%.
It did make me, we don't need to get into spoilers, but I will say that when we all left the theater, I was there, as per usual, seeing a comic book movie. I was there with all my friends from the comic shop. We all left it saying, she's one of the good guys in the X-Men movie. She's one of our heroes of the X-Men movie.
Yeah,
I don't. we'll see where they take it, but there's not much of a hero in this one, guys.
Not at all.
But yeah, I thought it was really good. I had a very fun time. I do think Doomsday is going to be dreadful, though. Every time I see these trailers, I'm like, this movie's going to suck so bad.
I am little apprehensive. I am apprehensive. See. Yeah. Needless to say, Doomsday is not the movie coming out that weekend that I will be seeing that weekend.
Isn't it the same weekend as Dunk 3?
It is.
I mean, I'll probably... Here's the problem, is I will be taken to both by two different groups of friends, probably. I'll see them both that weekend, unfortunately.
You know, if I'm not on call, I may see one night and one the other, but I will definitely be choosing to go see Dune 3 before I see Doomsday.
That's fair. We got to see Anya Taylor-Joy be a weird freak, a weird freak girl with weird freak tendencies. So
yeah,
that's what she does.
It's true.
Anyway, what you been up to?
So that actually beautifully segues into what I've been up to. We've had some time off. It was an interesting July, end of June through early August was kind of weird for me.
Mm-hmm.
We went to London. We got back. We were here for about a week. And then the following weekend, Liz and Gareth left to go to Boise. They were in Boise for 3 days. Then they were in California for a week. And so it was just me kind of chilling home alone for like 10 days. And then they got back. And then that weekend we went to Las Vegas. We went to Vegas for my 50th birthday celebration. They invited all the kids. We flew Aubrey and Hayden out here. And so for the first time, we had all 8 of us together. Liz, me, Jess, Gareth, Alex, Lily, Hayden, and Aubrey. And it was awesome. It was wonderful. We had a couple rooms in the Signature at MGM, which are really, I like them a lot. They're a little off the strip. They're part of the MGM Grand. So you can get over into the Grand through completely enclosed, air-conditioned. Because the coolest day we were there, it was 113 degrees.
Jesus.
It was utterly miserable. It was 100 degrees at 7:00 in the morning. And so it was nice to be able to go over there. We can use the pools in the MGM Grand, that kind of stuff, but it's not a casino. It's just their condos. You have a kitchenette. It was nice. So we went down there. We went down there for something that we did on Saturday, but because of something I had mentioned before, I knew we were going to Vegas. I didn't know what we were doing. Being the kind of person I am, I kind of tried to see if I could guess what it was. I ended up guessing correctly. But the first thing I did is I looked to see, I wonder what's in the Sphere. Because I'm trying to think, I'm not a gambler. Vegas isn't a place where I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go to Vegas. But it was me thinking, okay, what is in Vegas that's only in Vegas, that would be where we're going? And so the first thing I thought, the Sphere. I went and looked and I saw who was in the Sphere and I said, nope, that is definitely not it. But when I told my wife it was, she laughed and I said, but I would totally go. And so we ended up all going. All 8 of us went and saw the Backstreet Boys in the Sphere.
All right.
It was a blast. It was a great show. It was a ton of fun. The Sphere is an absolute experience. The visuals are cool. That sounds great. I mean, it was a very, very fun time. Liz had so much fun. She loved it way more than she thought she was going to. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't, again, I'm not a big Backstreet Boys fan, but it was a ton of fun. The main reason we went is because then on Saturday, we went down to Speed Vegas, and Liz had bought me 20 laps in a Ferrari 296 GTB. It was incredible. I did 23 laps because it was like I'd do 7 laps and then a cool down lap, 7 laps and a cool down lap, 6 laps and then one final cool down lap. Okay. But yeah, I got to drive this Ferrari really fast. I got up to about 137 miles an hour on the little 2,000-foot straightaway, some hairpin turns, little slalom section. I was driving with Nico. He was my coach and he was unrelenting. He just kept pushing me. He was like, faster, faster, give me more gas, get off the brake. Okay. Brake hard, get off the brake, turn here. It just like really pushing me to try and get me the fastest lap time I could do. And it was a ton of fun. And after 20 laps, I got out of that car. I was freaking exhausted.
I bet
it was intense. But it was so cool. It was a ton of fun. So we had a good time. We saw Backstreet Boys. I drove a fast car. We had some good food and we just hung out as a family. It was incredible.
Well, that's
But
cool.
before we went down there, while we were gone, I had some time to watch, or while they were gone, I had some time to watch some things. And one of the things I watched is the limited series Lucky on Apple TV. I think it
Okay.
has now completed, but I have not watched the final episode yet. I'm caught up through the first 6 episodes. But Lucky is a limited series thing. It's based off a book, and the main character is played by Anya Taylor-Joy. So speaking of Anya Taylor-Joy doing
There you go.
weird things, she is basically, she is a con person. She is a con woman. She is a criminal. She was raised that way by her father. Her father was that. And she has got herself into some deep, deep shit. And it's her conning her way out of it. It's fun. Is it going to win any awards? No. It's interesting. The consensus seems to be kind of split. Some people really like it. Other people are like, it's not that great. But you know what? It rides on Anya Taylor-Joy. She does such a good job in it. She is so captivating as this con woman. I know she's a con woman, and there are still times where she's pulling off this con and she's so good that I'm like, I believe it. And I'm like, I'm feeling pathos for her because of this situation that she is spinning. And then I'm like, wait a second, this is all a freaking lie. None of what she is saying is true. So I think it's great. It's a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. Speaking of Apple TV, Ted Lasso is back. My wife and I have watched the first 3 episodes. I mean, we've been watching one a week since it came out. It is so fun to have more Ted Lasso. I really enjoy it. I like the characters a lot. I like what they're doing with this season so far.
I have a question about Ted Lasso as a
Please.
non-Ted head.
Yes.
Is this because Jason Sudeikis' divorce from Olivia Wilde is going bad and he needs money? Because I thought he was like, I'm done playing this character. I don't want to get over it. And then like 2 years later, he's like, actually, why don't I do a season 4? This reads to me like the divorce is getting expensive.
So I don't know about that. I know that was part of the previous 3-season run of Ted Lasso, is that was percolating in the background and that influenced some of the story and everything that was being told. My understanding, and of course, this is the way that things are spun, but obviously it did really well for Apple TV.
Oh yeah.
So they were willing to, and here's the only, timing, who knows? Apple's been saying, hey, we would love to give you all a bunch of money. We have a dump truck full of money we would love to give you if you want to do some more. According to the reports, that it was finally, there was a story that Jason Sudeikis was like, okay, yeah, this is a compelling story that I would like to come back for, but who knows? It's all focusing on the women's football team that Richmond, at the end of the original series of Ted Lasso, Keely and Rebecca are like, yeah, we're going to have a women's team. And it's like, cool, great. And this is very unapologetic about the shit that women in women's sports has to put up with. Their locker room is horrible. Their kits aren't arriving on time. Sponsors are pulling out. And so it's very, very honest about the differences between men's and women's sports. And you can kind of go and look and stuff and see that Jason Sudeikis has a pretty lengthy, he has a relationship with Caitlin Clark of the WNBA, who has probably been the most shit on women's sports person in the last decade. And a lot of it because she's actually very good. And so you can see that this actually has been a thing for him, is trying to get more recognition for talented women athletes and to get people to pay attention and stuff. So that aspect of it is where I go, I would believe if somebody was like, hey, we have a good story that we want to tell about this. Are you interested? And I could see where that could be something where he's like, okay. So it's been good. We're enjoying it. I always like more Ted Lasso. A couple other things really quick so we can get to our main topic. I finally watched 2021's Mortal Kombat, thinking I would then follow it up with 2026 Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 1 kind of sucks, and so I did not watch Mortal Kombat 2.
Can I be perfectly honest? I haven't seen it yet.
You know, the characters are not that interesting. The main character isn't even a Mortal Kombat character. He's made specifically for the movies. it brings in this whole aspect of they have to unlock their anima, which is their magic. And each person only has anima to do like one special move. So it's trying to, it's kind of like the midi-chlorians. It's trying to give some explanation to the powers that the characters have in the game. It's completely unnecessary. Next time I am home alone and bored, I will think about watching Mortal Kombat 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if I think about it and then go, no, I don't need to do that.
So, have you seen / do you have fondness for the old 90s Mortal Kombat films?
I don't know if I've ever actually seen them all the way through, so I do not have any fondness for it.
I never had either. I watched it a few weeks ago at a friend's birthday party. And I'd forgotten until you mentioned the 2021 one. And then I was like, oh yeah, we watched that. It's not very good in entertaining ways.
Yeah, that's the sad thing about the 2021 one is it's not very good in not super entertaining ways. It's kind of one of those, it's not so bad, it's good, but it's also not so bad, it's bad. It's just kind of flat. And I found it rather uninteresting.
Well, that's because it's not made by Paul W.S. Anderson.
It's true. It is not. Couple other things in terms of books. I've been starting the Expanse series. I'm not far enough in to really go into it. I'm about halfway through Leviathan Wakes. Did the 2 kind of novellas that precede that chronologically. I am enjoying it. I think it's interesting so far. Reading a couple other nonfiction things. And then on the music front, a few things worth mentioning. The UK band Beyond Grace released their EP Welcome to the New Dark Ages Part 3. It's great. The Welcome to the New Dark Ages trilogy is fantastic. I am loving it. It is heavy, ugly, aggressive death metal that is extremely socially conscious. And, there's a title, there's the last song on part 3 is the title, If You Tolerate This, Your Children Will Be Next. So that's kind of what you're getting into. They're awesome. It sounds great. And I've been playing those 3 back to back, kind of on repeat ever since it came out a couple weeks ago. And the other thing I wanted to mention is on a whim, based off something, some passing YouTube video I saw, I kind of started listening to Death again. And oh my gosh, Death is just so good. I mean,
yeah,
Chuck Schuldiner was such a talented songwriter, and his ability to bring together just astonishingly talented support people for the different albums. The evolution of the band from Scream Bloody Gore to The Sound of Perseverance is just cool to see. And going back and listening to all of Death's albums just reminded again just what a spectacularly strong discography that is. And really just loving it. I mean, it's so good. One of the things that was interesting as I was listening to The Sound of Perseverance is there are a lot of things and some lyrical things where I kind of am listening to it and you almost get this impression that even though at the time these songs were being recorded, Chuck didn't know about his pontine glioma. It's almost like some part of him knew that something was going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just, prescience to some of the lyrical themes on that album. And just, again, phenomenal music. So that's kind of what I've been checking out. Let's get into our main topic.
Let's do it.
We talked about checking out some movies where we have the first version of this movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and a second version of this same movie starring somebody else. And we thought we would start with Conan the Barbarian. I chose this one because Conan really was the first of the ones with Arnold and is one of his much earlier movies. And I think could easily be argued that is the movie that sort of put Arnold on the map.
Yeah.
So tell me, Eden, about Conan the Barbarian and your relationship, your thoughts, because I know you've mentioned in passing you have fondness for this movie, but let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So I love the film Conan the Barbarian from 1982, directed by weird crypto libertarian John Milius.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, there's so much I like about this movie. I love Schwarzenegger. I think he owns it, even though, and I know the Conan purists do not care for his casting because he does not look like a Sumerian. He's not swarthy enough. He doesn't have black hair in a terrible bob. And that is what Conan has in the books, black hair in a terrible bob.
Yeah.
But I think he's great. Sandal Bergman kills it. She's so good. Apparently she, this was a thing after we finished Gore, then Amazon Prime was like, hey, do you want to watch some other things? And there was some weird sword and sandal movies from the 80s starring Sandal Bergman called She, about a cool empress who is doing cool sword and sandal shit. And I was like, God, I gotta watch this movie. And everybody else who was in the call had already seen it. And they were like, Eden, how have you not seen the movie She? And it's just because I didn't know it existed, but now I do, and now I gotta watch it. I think James Earl Jones is some of the most inspired casting, because this is a mere 5 years after Star Wars, where he plays one of the greatest big bads of all time. And then they're like, hey, do you want to play one of the weirdest big bads of all time with your face out this time and the worst wig you've ever worn in a film? And he said, can I chew the scenery? And they said, we actually require you to. And he does. I think Thulsa Doom is so cool, dog. There's so much about this movie that I enjoy. Cassie and I refer to the scene all the time when he and Subutai are drunk and that camel comes out of nowhere and Conan just goes, "Ah!" and just like punches the camel to death. A single drunken sucker punch kills a camel. And I'm like, that's movies. That's the cinema to me. I just love it. I think that the sets are incredible. I think the costuming is incredible. That prayer to Crom at the end is another one of those things that Cassie and I quote to each other all the time, where we're like, Crom, I've never prayed to you before. I've no tongue for it. It's like such a killer. Oh my God. It's so cool. I love this fucking movie.
Good. I'm glad.
But you didn't like it as much. So tell me about why you didn't like it as much.
So here's what I'll say. Conan the Barbarian is a fascinating movie. There's a lot going on here. And I appreciate the way this movie completely just does not give a rat's ass about your expectations for how a movie should be, how a story should be told in a movie.
Not at all.
And I come at that because I'm in the midst of preparing to write another book. And this time around, I'm really focusing on kind of the Save the Cat Writes a Novel method that has the 15 beats. And I'm solidifying each one of these beats before I start doing any writing. So I have at least the skeleton of, okay, here are the key parts I need in a book. Save the Cat Writes a Novel was written by Jessica Brody off of the idea of Save the Cat, which was written about screenplays.
Yes.
So that's what the original Save the Cat was, is it was, here are the key things, the key elements you need in a screenplay. And John Milius and who else? It was Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone.
So
it is widely reported that very, very, very little of Oliver Stone's script survived to the end of this filming.
Needless to say, these people who came up with this concept for this movie didn't care about those beats. Now, at the same time, this movie vastly precedes that book being written, but that book was being written saying, hey, here's what movies do and here's what screenplays do. So it was really interesting to look at this and go, oh, there's a lot that isn't in this movie that we kind of subconsciously expect from movies these days. For example, the film is 100% A story. There is no B story in this movie whatsoever. We get very little about the internal sort of motivation or anything of Conan, really. And so it kind of feels weird watching it in 2026. And I realized watching this, I've never seen Conan the Barbarian.
Really?
I've seen parts of it. I'm familiar with a lot of it, but I had never watched this whole movie start to finish. The things that are fascinating about it, but so here's what I'll say. I find it a fascinating movie.
Sure.
I kind of also found it boring.
I think it's fair. I think that there are some real pacing issues. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, where like it doesn't fit the beats that you expect from storytelling, and the pacing is weird. It has a dragging middle act for sure.
Well, and it's fascinating because in some of my reading for this, you see that Milius was approaching this as he's creating a mythic hero.
Yes.
And in the stories, in the myths, we don't know the motivation. You think of Greek mythology. Nobody's trying to understand the motivation or the minds of the gods or the heroes and that kind of stuff. It's just there. We see their actions, and their actions are what then define them as these heroes or these larger than life characters. And I think that that's what Milius is going for with Conan. That's why there is no B story. That's why there is no really understanding much of an internal conflict in Conan, other than you could slightly say, I guess, whether he decides, does he really believe in Crom, yay or nay? But there's the other thing that I saw referenced is Wagnerian opera. So,
sure.
The soundtrack for this is almost as long as the movie itself.
It's dope as hell.
It is a great soundtrack.
When we get to the 2011 film, we can talk about how bad it blows it in most departments, but one of them is the soundtrack. Because as I sat there watching it last night, I was like, why does it sound so lifeless? This is not a good soundtrack. Whereas the soundtrack for the soundtrack for the 82 film is stunning. It's so good.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, Poledouris does a masterful job with that. And it's really interesting to see that rather than having the complete movie and then him sitting down, Poledouris wrote this music for this just off like the screenplay and the storyboards.
Yeah.
So, there's so many things about the way this movie was made make it unique. And that's why I think it's a fascinating movie that is absolutely worth watching, worth being studied, and worth the cultural impact that it continues to have.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like there weren't they had sword and sandal films before Conan the Barbarian came out.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them hit as hard. And every single one that comes out afterwards is trying to do a Conan. And most of them are not succeeding. Conan the Destroyer, for all intents and purposes, fails in so many ways in comparison to this one. Red Sonja is trying to do this and fails. Again, that movie Gore is trying to do this and fails. And it's fun to watch it fail, but like it is a failure.
Exactly. And the key, one of the interesting things is if you don't know what you're getting into, it can be a little jarring going and watching Conan if you have any experience with Arnold 80s action movies.
Yeah.
Because you're expecting a lot faster pace, more action, and, Arnold's personality kind of coming through and some dry humor and some quips and stuff like that. I mean,
he's not quipping in this one.
And again, intentionally so. And again, part of it is there was a lot of concern about his accent and all this, but this is a very different movie written with a very different purpose in mind.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really singular in these sword and sandal, especially that late 70s, 80s action movies, is it's trying to do something different. And I think very much so succeeds in what it is trying to do.
Yeah. But I can see how you were like a little bored by it. I get it. I think that that's true of almost all of these movies. I think they all just kind of sag because they want to make a 2-hour plus thing and you've got about 80 minutes of story.
Yeah, it's true. This
is extremely common. Yeah.
I agree with you that I think James Earl Jones as Thulsa Doom, his wig is the most insane thing.
Oh, he's so good though.
Looking at the bangs.
His speech about the riddle of flesh versus the riddle of steel is one of the greatest scenes in cinema, man. It's so good.
It's excellent. And there's interesting things in here where you see the movie starts with the riddle of steel and then pays off in that at the end of the movie, what defeats Thulsa Doom is that sword.
Yeah,
Even
it is
though
the
it's
riddle
been
of
broken,
steel still.
But it's been broken, but it still ultimately wins out against the riddle of flesh. And I think that's an important thing to mention as we in another minute or two move into the second half of this. But I don't think we need to go through the plot. It's Conan the Barbarian.
It's Conan.
If you haven't watched it, absolutely go watch it. And I say this again as someone who kind of found it boring. It is worth watching. It should be watched. It is an important movie that I think does interesting things and deserves a place in the pantheon of well-known, popular, good movies that people look at with high regard.
Here's
Even
what I'll
though
say,
it wasn't
folks.
universally regarded at the time it came out.
No, it's one of those ones that had to get a cult following. Like, it made enough to get a sequel, but barely. And it really only got popular when home video came along, as so many cool movies from the 70s and 80s that's true for. Home video came along, people got the VHS and they were like, this is good as hell. How did we not watch this movie? Yeah, I think it's great. So I think you should all go watch it. And here's all I'll say as a wrap up. I own 3 movies on 4K Blu-ray. Madam Web, Battle Angel Alita, which I still haven't seen, but it was on sale for $2 for the 4K Blu-ray, and Conan the Barbarian. So that's how much I love this movie, listeners. I bought a 4K Blu-ray so that I could watch it in all 4,000 pixels.
There you go.
And the other 2 I only got because they were on really good sales.
Briefly, I'll say Battle Angel Alita is a sad movie to watch in that I actually kind of like it quite a bit. And it was sad that it never did well enough for us to get more in that world.
Well, I really like the comic. I think Alita Battle Angel's dope as hell. And I just haven't gotten around to it. I've had it for probably 5 years at this point. But every time I'm like, I should watch Battle Angel Alita, I watch something else.
Well, maybe we'll have to think about that as a possible future episode.
It's not a bad idea. I already got it.
So
let's break our hearts.
I agree with you. Good movie. People should watch it. And I'm going to just go ahead and say straight up what people should not watch and
bad movie don't watch.
Should waste their time with is 2011's Conan the Barbarian.
Bad movie don't watch.
I apologized to you.
You did.
For making us watch this movie. And I'm sure now that you've seen it, you understood why I apologized.
I did. 'Cause here's the thing. While this follows the tropes of storytelling in a way that
this hits the 15 beats much more.
This is in fact a perfect recitation of the 15 beats, but I think also shows the limits of following the rules in that way. Because if you were to map it out, this is a perfect example of what you should do, whereas the other one is an example of how you shouldn't do it. But it's so soulless. There's nothing here. Momoa has no screen presence whatsoever. Rose McGowan is the only interesting character in the entire cast. Everything else sucks. Stephen Lang is so boring as Kalar Zim. Rachel Nichols is given nothing to do as Tamara. There's nothing there. This movie is boring as fuck.
Yeah. And that's the thing is it was very different. It was a very different kind of boring. Conan the Barbarian, the 1982 film, I found a little boring because of, again, pacing issues, not quite matching maybe some expectations that I had going in, which were no fault whatsoever of the movie itself. It was just my anticipation that I was watching an earlier, but a classic 80s Arnold action movie. And that is not at all what this is.
No.
And this is a 2000 and teens action movie that is utterly paint by the numbers, soulless, devoid of any, again, nothing about this is interesting. Everything about it is just banal as can be.
It shocks me how empty everything feels, even though they built like big sets for a lot of it. Like there's particularly one set piece that's kind of the end of the second act set piece. where they have it's really the only good part of the movie, where there's the sand boys who are bumping out of the sand. That's clearly a set, and they built a big set. It looks like an expensive set because it's quite large and lots of, fake stone and wood and all that sort of stuff. But it just doesn't look real in a way that, like, you watch that 82 one and you see Thulsa Doom's castle in the hills of Spain because they built a fucking castle in the hills of Spain that Conan is walking up a mountain to. It doesn't have a sense of place in that same way. And a lot of that comes down to, you can tell that as soon as you are not looking at the set and seeing the area around the set, we're in CGI-ville. They did not actually go to a place and film these things. It's all clearly been shot on sets. So it just feels kind of lifeless and empty in a way that, the Arnie one doesn't, because it's shot in, Andalusia. They watched those 60s westerns. They were like, let's do that but for sword and sandals, and ruin whole tracts of land in Spain with some wild sets we built. And that's not what they're doing here. And I'm just, I was reading the Wikipedia page about it, and apparently Momoa beat Jared Padalecki as one of the characters. Do you know who Jared Padalecki is?
I don't.
Do you know anything about the show Supernatural?
I know of it. I have never seen it.
He's the less hot brother from Supernatural.
Okay.
And maybe that's speaking to my preferences when it comes to boys, but he is the less hot brother from Supernatural. He is Rory's dirtbag first boyfriend from Gilmore Girls. And okay. I want to live in a world where he was Conan, because I think the movie would have been so bad it's good, because he would at least have something to bring to it, because Momoa has nothing. And I like Momoa occasionally. Occasionally. It's not often. I think he's mostly a pretty bad actor. I will admit I've never seen the Aquaman movies. That first Aquaman's supposed to be pretty good, but I don't care about Aquaman, so I've never seen those movies. We talked previously about how he is not good in F9, F10. He's in 10. He is quite bad in that. So he was dog shit as Lobo in the terrible Supergirl movie. The more space I have from that film, the lower my opinion is of it. He's terrible in that movie. So I want to live in a world where it was Jared Padalecki, because at least I think it could have been funny.
There you go. There's again, I'm not going to waste time on the story because the story is dog shit, but it's interesting to me that the story is completely different. I don't know why. I assumed it would at least have some semblance to the original. It has none whatsoever. It's just some stupid, again, random tropey, okay, we're going to find, here's the thing. Can I just get this off my chest?
Yes.
This mask of the whatever, the stupid necromantic sorcerer people, they can break the mask into the different pieces to hide them.
Yeah.
Why the fuck didn't you just break them pieces all the way, you dumbasses?
Yeah, why didn't you break it into a bajillion of pieces? Why did you break it into 8 pieces?
Just make it so that it can't be put back together because, we need a stupid ass reason for the story. It's interesting. I will actually, as I was thinking about it just now, there are some ways in which this thing even fails and falls down at the classic sort of 15 beats of a story. And one of the big ones is there is zero journey whatsoever for Conan. Conan from the very beginning is the best. He's a badass. He's a little kid.
Even when he's a kid.
Yeah, he goes out and he decides he wants to do the trial thing. So he's got the little, looks like a quail egg in his mouth. And in the midst of this, he then attacks and kills 5 raider type people who are coming for him. And then he gets back and he still has the egg. So he completed the trial. None of the other boys did. And in the meantime, it's just, there's no development of him. And that's in contrast to Arnold, who starts out as a little kid who gets captured and then grows on the wheel of pain and then is forced to become a pit fighter. And so we know why he's a badass.
Yeah. Well, we know why 2011 Conan is a badass too. And he was raised by slumming it for a paycheck.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. There's two big slumming it for a paychecks here. One of them even worse than the other, which is Mr. I will come into your recording booth for 13 minutes. Morgan Freeman doing the narration for this film. When the narration started, I was like, is that fucking Morgan Freeman? Is he going to be in this movie? He is not in this movie. He is Mr. appearing in your recording booth for 13 minutes for a $50,000 check, which more power to you, Morgan. But no, Perlman is slumming it as the dad. And that's why he's so cool, is because his dad is fucking Hellboy, dog. Here's the thing. Here's one of my weird complaints about this movie. Why are there weird orc people? The fuck is that? Yeah. There's no orcs in Hyboria. What are we doing? Why are they weird? And here is my real problem with the film. This is me putting my real goofy hat on. Why are they all ethnicized to be like real life ethnicities? And those are the orcish people. Oh, the orcish people read as Native American and or African. But the white people aren't orcish in the same way. And it's like, there's some racial politics to this film that I don't really care for, guys. What the hell?
Yeah. It's just, it's so bad in so many ways.
Really bad.
Really bad. Again, I think that it is not wrong to say that this may be one of the very worst movies we have watched for this podcast.
I know there's at least one worse, and that is Knights of the Zodiac.
Yep, that was the same one that was in my mind. That's why I said one of the worst.
But it is hard for me to think of a worse movie other than Knights of the Zodiac.
I mean, look, I will watch Madam Web 3 times before I watch this again. And we all know
me too.
But we know how I felt about Madam Web.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know what? I think there's a chance. I don't know. It might be tied. There's a part of me that's like, which would I rather watch again? 2011's Conan the Barbarian or Black fucking Adam?
Oh my God.
It's a I can't tell you which one it would be, but that's where we're playing here. Those are the waters we are wading in.
That's bad. That's rough. It's not good.
No. And it doesn't look good either. There's all the CGI. It looks cheap, and there's just stupid things. Like, we have massive citadel cities separated by who knows how much time and space, and yet we can bop in between them in the course of an hour or two. I mean, we've got.
What was the story with the big boat being dragged by elephants? Well, why?
Yeah, why is that? Why?
I know why Thulsa Doom's stuff is snake themed, and it's because he can turn into a snake. Why does this guy have elephants dragging a boat around the jungle?
Yeah, who knows?
It's real bad.
Bad movie.
Really bad.
I hope that this is the widest chasm in quality between the original and the more recent version, because boy howdy, if we've got to watch some more movies that I have inflicted upon us that are just this bad, I'm going to be sad, and I'm going to owe you something next time you and I meet in person. I don't know what you'll have to tell me what it is, but it's a bad movie. And it's, I was looking, its budget was like 90 million. It made like 60. Yeah. And even then I go, it made too much money. Like, this deserves to have been the absolute flop that it was, because it's bad and it's boring and it has nothing it adds nothing to the world in any way.
No.
And I'm not saying everything has to. No, because something can just be fun just to be fun, and that's what it adds to the world. It's fun.
Yeah.
This doesn't even accomplish that. It's not even that.
That is what I would say Conan the Destroyer is. That's just fun. It's just goofy fun. It's not it is not like a monumental thing in my brain the way Conan the Barbarian is. Conan the Destroyer is just like, yeah, that's funny. When he gets picked up and swung around, and then they use that gif with what's her face from Titanic, Rose from Titanic
Rose.
swinging.
Yeah.
That's just funny. That's just comedy to me. And that's how I feel about Conan the Destroyer. But yeah, some things worth mentioning though, as we wrap this up here. First off, they announced a threequel to Conan last year. They're making a King Conan movie. Did you hear about this? Schwarzenegger.
I don't think I heard this.
Schwarzenegger is making a King Conan film. Christopher McQuarrie, who made some of those Mission Impossibles that were pretty
Mission
good.
Impossible movies. Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to start filming later this year. Conan king for 40 years, forced off his throne and has to win back his kingdom. That sounds great. I'm here for that.
I mean, I hope they pull it off. I hope it's good.
And here's the other important thing. While we were in this call, I was looking at the Conan the Barbarian Wikipedia page, and I found out about a movie that I absolutely have to watch, that I have been downloading, which is a weird French film called She Is Conann, a gender-flipped version of Conan the Barbarian that stars 5 different actresses playing a female Conan at different stages in her life. What? How have I not seen this movie already?
There you go. Not familiar with that one at all.
I'd never even heard of it.
Tell us how it is.
Oh,
I look forward to hearing.
I went to the IMDb page and I was looking at screenshots from it, and I was like, "Oh, this looks like a weird tone piece. They didn't build sets. I can't wait. There's a car in this one. Why is there a car? I can't. This, this one's gonna be a barn burner, I think."
I love that. I look forward to hearing.
Now I'm looking at a weird lady with a Uzi. Why is there a dog person? As I'm looking at these pictures from She Is Conann, I can't wait. I gotta watch this movie.
I had no idea it was as recent as it is.
Me neither.
So there we go. Well, we'll have to hear about that at some point down the road. But I think for now we'll go ahead and wrap it up. If you have not subscribed and you're listening to this, please subscribe. Go ahead, share this with somebody else, give us a star rating, leave a review, all that fun stuff. And we'll be back in another couple weeks. And as things settle down a little bit, we'll get back more into a sense of normalcy.
Yeah, talk to you then.